some companies have the attitude, or they used to have the attitude, that the customer was always right, or, look out for the customer a little bit. Well, most companies kind of have the policy of the customer going to F themselves. Um, Indiana Natural Gas Corporation in Paoli, Indiana. I think the asshole that runs it, his name's Phil Ross. Now, to give you some background on this, I've called these people, I'm going to say 3 or 4 times in 25 years. It's not like I'm calling them every 5 minutes with something, okay? Back in, what was it, 2005 or 6, we had about a 5 point something earthquake, and people start talking about, well, what about the big earthquake, the big uh, New Madrid fault? What if we have the big 9 point something? What would happen in modern times? The one that happened back in the pioneer days and the whole deal. What if that happened now with all the electricity, the gas lines, the buildings, bridges, and pipelines, and so on? What would happen? Um, so I had a concern about that. Some people just lay on the couch and eat bags of chips and don't think of anything except getting more chips. I do think about things. I have concerns about things, and I ask questions. Turns out asking questions or complaining about things will get you put on a target list. Whether you're talking to cops, the government, or businesses, or what have you, local outfits, whatever. Anyways, I wondered, because there are gas explosions. They're in the news. You can look them up on the internet. Houses exploding from gas quite often in this country. Sometimes there's what was it, up around Boston a couple years ago? There was a bunch of houses blew to pieces. Gas is dangerous. Gas might be toxic when you burn it and all that. Might be bad for your health. Maybe it ain't as safe as they promoted it to be for the last 80 years. There's been a lot of people killed by exploding gas in schools and houses. It's happened. I think it was years ago. It was around the turn of the century. Was it a explosion or a poisoning? It was a school up in New England somewhere. I think they suffocated. I think there was a gas leak. They didn't smell it. There was no smell added to the gas, and I think all the kids died. You have to look that up. And then after that, I think they started putting the smell in there and all this kind of thing, so you might be able to detect it, because it's an odorless gas that will kill you if it's all you have to breathe in the house. If all the oxygen's gone and what have you, it will kill your ass, even if it doesn't explode. So it is dangerous, and a lot of houses have this shit piped in their house, like mine. So when we have an earthquake, I have some questions and concerns. Now, before the earthquake thing, the gas meter on my house is right near a basement window. I don't leave windows open anymore. You can't do it. It's too much dust and pollution out there. And I've had people peeping in my windows. I don't know who. You can't trust people not to just walk up and look in your windows. Kind of weird. Anyways, so I think most people keep their windows shut. When I was a kid, it wasn't unusual to have your windows open. Fresh air, Well, people got away from that. It's for privacy, and again, just air pollution. You don't know when some farmer's going to spread pig shit on the field next to your house or whatever, and you have that crap coming in. There's a lot of dust, a lot of stuff, a lot of air pollution these days. A lot more traffic, diesel pollution on the roads. So I don't leave the window open like I used to, but back then I did, the early 2000s. The vent for the gas meter is right by the window. This was kind of a bad idea. I don't know who, this was before I was born. Somebody decided to put a gas meter almost in front of the window. Well, the vent will give out gas. Gas will come out. It's like a pressure release valve or what it is, and it would blow in the house, so I could smell the gas, the rotten egg smell in the house. I don't know if it was dangerous, but I could smell it in the house, in the basement, and whatever. So I asked if they could move the vent higher, like above the window. That way maybe the air would carry it away. Well, one time they had a truck out here. One guy in a truck come out to look at the pot, do their inspection or whatever they do, and the meter maintenance or whatever. Not that they did meter maintenance very often. I've done more meter maintenance on that meter than the gas company. You pour the soap water over it and see if it has leaks, and then you turn in the little screw to push the wax in there. This is like old 1800s crap. So they don't check these meters much. I've caught mine leaking many times, and then I try to stop it leaking. Anyways, they had a truck here, and I was talking to the guy, and I said, could you move that gas vent a little, higher? And he's like, oh God, and it wasn't a big deal. All you needed was a section of pipe, a couple pipe wrenches, and move it up. It wasn't a big deal. And then he tells me, well, we never have tools in our trucks. They won't. When we need tools, they never have we don't have tools in our trucks, the wrenches and all this stuff. This is the gas company that has utility trucks going out, and I guess they don't give them the tools they need. What's that about, Phil Ross? Don't want to spend money on tools for all the trucks? I had called him one time, and I told him, I got this gas smell. I don't know what, and it was probably the valve needed redone, the shut-off valve. And the woman says, well, we might get out there or something next week sometime. I said, well, it's blowing in the window and what have you. Yeah, it might be next week. I'm like, what? What is this bullshit? What a lame-ass run company. Phil Ross. Can't get nobody out when you got a gas leak. Can't keep tools in the truck. Phil Ross. Anyways, the guy comes at some point. The guy was out here and I was talking to him, one of the workers, and he did move the vent up. He said, okay, I'm going to do it. And I don't know, he scrounged around, found a wrench and a few old fittings, and he moved it up. I guess it helped a little. But since then, I don't really open the windows like most people don't open their windows anymore. But the fact that you tell them you have gas smell coming in your house, and they're like, yeah, maybe next week we'll get out there. I don't know. Okay. Good stuff, right? We had the earthquake. I called the gas company. Again, this was like the first or second time, probably the second time I ever called these people. I've always paid my bill on time. I've never been, the bill always gets paid. They've never come out here and shut off my gas because of an unpaid bill. Never had that problem. So I asked, does the Hayesville Fire Department, can they shut the gas off if we have a big earthquake. You know, because they say you have a big earthquake, the pipes in your house, your house shakes around, things break in your house, you might have gas coming out. Now, you can go out and shut it off as well, but could you shut off the whole town? Phil Ross said no, and I don't want him to know how to do it either, because I don't trust him. Phil Ross told me he doesn't trust the Hayesville Fire Department because it would cost too much money to go around and light everybody's pilot lights in their houses. Now, I don't need anybody to light any pilot lights in my house. I can do things, but I get it. There's some old ladies that they're not going to lay on the floor with the water heater and light the pilot light. I get it. Most things now, most appliances, you don't have to light anything. It'll do it itself. It's like automatic. But some people probably still have some old stuff, some old water heaters. Probably a few of those out there, an old furnace. I don't know. But it's not a big deal like it used to be. But Phil Ross, his idea of I'm worried about convenience and money over safety. He doesn't trust the Hayesville Fire Department because he basically told me they're volunteer firefighters, a bunch of yahoos. They can't be trusted. They're a bunch of idiots. And then he told me a story quickly about how somebody was shooting gas lines with a high-powered rifle, and it was a volunteer firefighter somewhere, I guess in Indiana, I don't know. So he was a dick about it. He was an aggressive dick about my safety concerns. It's just a question. Well, when the gas company doesn't trust the fire department, maybe somebody ought to work that out, work together for people's general safety, like the town, the safety of the people, the houses. Nah, but Phil Ross is like, screw those people, screw you, and we don't give a shit. That was his attitude. I got a couple acres here. For some reason, the gas pipes run in the backyard. They basically run to the middle of the property. Instead of running out along the highway, near, in the front yard, basically, they put the pipes in the backyards. So when they come out to supposedly look for leaks, like I wouldn't know there's a leak, like I wouldn't smell it myself, I could call them and say, hey, I think there's a leak in the yard. And I guess they'd say, we'll get out there next week sometime, maybe. Well, anyways, in order to inspect these pipes and look for leaks, they have to walk around in everybody's backyard. Not a big deal. Some people have animals in their property. Some people got little kids, maybe out in the swimming pool, and there comes some guy walking around. So I think I wrote them and I said, it'd be nice if I'd rather, before you come out and do your inspection once a year or whatever it is, walk around, see if you smell any gas, which is about all it amounts to. How about you let me know in advance? I got animals out here. I don't really need just somebody popping up in my backyard, and I don't know who the hell it is. So, anyways, I guess that lit a fire under Phil Ross's tight little ass and pissed him off. About a year or so later, I seen a news story where they were having gas fires in houses or gas explosions because they said the pipes weren't grounded. I'd never heard of that. I'd never heard of grounding gas pipes. Well, I got gas pipes in my house. They're not grounded. What are they talking about? I don't know what they mean. So I made the mistake of calling Indiana Natural Gas Corporation and talking to this fuckhead Phil Ross, this aggressive prick, and I asked him what that meant, grounding gas pipes. Well, he was all pissed off and he threw a fit at me on the phone and went nuts. And he got insulting because Phil Ross is a dangerous motherfucker who has no business being in charge of anything. He did tell me that it's the flex pipes. I'd never, like whole house flex pipes. The pipe I got in my house is all black pipe, except for where it goes on the appliance, that 2 foot or whatever can be a flex pipe. But this angry, prickish dick, Phil Ross, he couldn't just answer questions. This guy's got I don't know if he's got a micro penis complex and he has to overcompensate with anger. I don't know why this guy has his head up his gorilla ass or what his problem is. But he has no business being in charge of a company that pipes explosive shit into your house. He's dangerous and he's incompetent. And he's a prick who can't engage in customer service. Now, I will say I'm getting away from gas. I got one thing in my house yet that uses gas. And when that thing breaks and I got to buy a new one, I'm getting electric. And then they can shove this gas right up Phil Ross's fucking ass. You fucking prick. Shove it up your ass, you insulting fucking prick. Then they can take their, and they can come out and get their fucking gas pipes out of my backyard. Bypass it. Go around the property. Once you do that, you fucking prick. So we should all just tell this gas company, I know gas is really cheap, but how cheap is it if your fucking house explodes? How cheap is it if your kids are being poisoned by the fumes from the stove and the furnace or whatever, these in-house things that are poorly vented? Is it worth it? Worth saving money? Why don't they go ahead and just burn the natural gas at the power plant instead of burning coal? That would reduce pollution a little bit, I think. And it should reduce your electric cost since gas is cheap. So there you go. Instead of burning the gas at your house, let's burn it at the power plant miles away and then pipe the cheaper electricity to your house. They have this saying called fuck up, move up. Yeah. I think that's the case here. If you're a fuck up, you get moved up. Phil Ross, I think he's a fuck up that got moved up.
Everybody knows by now, all businessmen are completely full of shit. Just the worst kind of low-life criminal cocksuckers you could ever want to run into. A fucking piece of shit businessman. And the proof of it is they don't even trust each other. They don't trust one another. When a businessman sits down to negotiate a deal, the first thing he does is to automatically assume that the other guy is a complete lying prick who's trying to fuck him out of his money. So he's got to do everything he can to fuck the other guy a little bit faster and a little bit harder. And he's got to do it with a big smile on his face. You know that big bullshit businessman smile? And if you're a customer, whoa, That's when you get the really big smile. Customer always gets that really big smile as the businessman carefully positions himself directly behind the customer and unzips his pants and proceeds to service the account. I'm servicing this account. This customer needs service. Now you know what they mean. Now you know what they mean when they say, we specialize in customer service.